We are officially entering week 13 of the NFL season, and unfortunately, Matt Eberflus is still the head coach for the Chicago Bears. If he's literally trying to lose his job at this point, and for some reason we're still keeping him and maintaining that tradition of never firing a head coach in the middle of the season, and thus wasting away another season with this like pretty darn good team as well. But what is up, guys? Welcome back to Soulback Sports, and I'm so back with another video. And today we're going to be doing a little prediction and analysis for the upcoming game this Thanksgiving on Thursday against the Detroit Lions. And listen, this is going to be a tough matchup because, you know, like the other two against the Packers and the Vikings, Detroit is on another level because they are currently 10-1 and 4-1 at home, and the Chicago Bears have yet to beat a divisional opponent this season. Now, don't get me wrong, we have come close both times, but it was always due to both of them were due to a field goal being either had or we shanked it essentially. So, listen, at the end of the day, I like where this offense is, and I'm gonna get into the offense first because let's get the positives out of the way before we get into negative. Let's start this video off with a little bit of more of a positive note, and it starts with the offense with Thomas Brown because especially against two divisional opponents, because Shane Waldron post Patriots game fired, right? And then Thomas Brown enters the frame with two really solid performances on the offensive side, was able to allow Caleb Williams to look like himself a lot in the last two games. And Caleb has been playing some of his best football, you know, this season, really, because credit where credit is due. The Vikings defense is really good. And the Packers as well. Like they're both nothing to really scoff at because they've been clamping down on teams left and right, and especially Caleb Williams seems to have passed the Brian Flores test and was able to look really solid and even lead a comeback victory or comeback against the Vikings with this defense of theirs because not many quarterbacks, especially a rookie quarterbacks, can go against Brian Flores's like blitzes and against man coverage and whatnot and succeed. And Caleb did that really well, and especially dropping 340 yards, breaking the passing record for both touchdowns and yards. I think he was just yards, but he tied the all-time record for a rookie quarterback for the Chicago Bears with 11 touchdowns. And currently he's on pace to hit about 3,600 yards this season in his rookie season. And, that's great. That's pretty solid if you ask me. And he still has 6 games left to really, maybe chase greatness. If this season isn't, what's going to be expected, if we don't win a single game from now on, why not just, focus on Caleb Williams' development? And if he just continues to look good in these last couple of games, and especially against good comp, because from now on forth, we're going to be having good comp, and he's going to be playing against better competition. We'll get more reps, and we'll essentially learn against great defenses, kind of being able to navigate the pocket, being able to see disguised coverages. That's something you really want your rookie quarterback to do. And this is a great test against the Detroit Lions. Now, listen, Detroit right now, they're focused on making the playoffs and making a Super Bowl run because this team is just unstoppable. I saw a stat where they were like against the AFC South, it was like 165 points again. The Detroit Lions have put up, and they've only let up like 16 points or something crazy, like a crazy differential. And that just shows you how potent this, well, I can't even say it, Detroit Lions offense is. And Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson have been doing a great job. Aaron Glenn on the defensive side has been pretty phenomenal, especially with the loss of Aiden Hutchinson. But this Detroit team is legit, and it's going to be a great opponent for Caleb Williams going forward. And now, listen, matching up these two, like if the fact of the matter is the Bears were able to withstand what Green Bay and the Vikings did, they just essentially get in the way of themselves. And that's what essentially costs them the game, especially last game against the Vikings when we, lined up for a kick and Cairo missed it because we got blocked again. Okay, that's one thing. And then special teams as well. We got in our way again because DeAndre Carter was like saying to not touch the ball, and then the ball ends up hitting him, and then it be the Vikings recover the ball, and it's a turnover in that sense. Special teams has been pretty much an issue, and if you look back, the last field goal to essentially tie the game was could have been blocked as well. So special teams is going to be an issue going forward. And it's not like Torrey Taylor is bad because Torrey Taylor's been phenomenal this entire season, but it's more like the little things that you don't expect to be a problem are a problem for the Chicago Bears. And that's just been the story of this entire season as a whole. And it's just annoying because when you see it live, you're just like, you just can't keep getting away with this. Like, I don't understand. And it may be due to a lack of preparation. I just think that's just the case because having a kick get blocked back to back games is kind of crazy. And it's kind of embarrassing if you think about it because you had a whole week to fix that. And listen, now that this is a Thursday game, like this is an away game, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is an away game in Detroit. So it's possible that Flus can win because it's not a Sunday and it's away and it's also away. So there's a good shot that the Bears can win, but do I think it's going to happen? No, absolutely not. Because the Lions. I keep saying Vikings, but the Lions are literally too overpowered for this team in terms of, their defense and their offense. But I think Caleb can navigate through that Detroit Lions defense. I don't think it's as prevalent or as tough, given how much weapons that we have in our arsenal. And right now, based on what it seems like, let me pull this up. Like what it seems like is that the team is pretty healthy for the most part. Like for the Chicago Bears, the only two players that have been in on the injury report. Let me increase myself real quick. Okay, have been Ryan Bates and Elijah Hicks because you know for the most part of the season we've seen a lot of players and a lot of the staff, like not the staff, the players have been injured throughout the season. And that's been a really detriment to the consistency and especially the offensive line. The offensive line has been riddled with injuries and has been, kind of doing this musical chairs kind of game where they're trying to have some consistency, but they just can't get there because of the injuries. And they've been what? I think there was a stat where it was 6 different or 7 different combinations for offensive line for Caleb Williams this season, which is unbelievable because that just sucks because you really want your rookie quarterback to have a good solid offensive line, but it just you got to play with the cards that you're dealt with, and that's just how it is. But in terms of the defense, right, the defense has to go up against the Bears defense, that is, has to go up against very, very big powerhouse offense. They've been balling out. You have Sonic and Knuckles, Jameer Gibbs, and Montgomery, a former Bear. So he's going to be hard enough to stop. And then you have Amon-Ross St. Brown, I think Jameson Williams is still. I know. I think he's still suspended. I'm pretty sure. I don't know. But then you have Sam Laporta, Brock Wright. You have all these weapons. And Jared Goff has been having a pretty solid year as a quarterback for the Detroit Lions. He doesn't really have to do too much either. And with how complicated and complex and unique the Ben Johnson offense is, it's going to be a problem for this defense. And given how inconsistent Matt Eberflus is when it comes to, blitzing, which hasn't been really utilized that much properly, and utilizing prevent defense has been a really big issue. And again, I've said this a lot. Matt Eberflus does not coach to win. Matt Eberflus coaches to not lose a game. There's a huge difference in that. And it just seems that, until I see otherwise, I just can't really say that he's going to win this game with his defense because, we finally got Montez Sweat involved with a sack last week. So hopefully that will at least attribute to some kind of consistency, but that's yet to be seen. Javon Dexter has been pretty solid for us on the defense, and the defensive line has to get to the quarterback. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And Jared Goff, Montgomery, they're going to run the ball a lot. They're going to utilize, the outside of the line to make plays and on the sidelines because that's just how the Lions roll. And that's how potent this offense is. So that's how you're going to have to stop him. And, you have to have Tyreek Stevenson get out of this funk and not make mistakes too much. And Jalen Johnson had two back-to-back games where it wasn't his greatest game, so that's why he needs to utilize this game to, kind of bounce back from those kind of poor performances to his standards, because those penalties should not happen in the first place. And he has to be more like diligent and consistent, and I think he will get bounced back. I don't think that this is like a huge funk that he's been in. For the most part in the season, he's been pretty solid. Offensively, the Bears have to just continue to do what they've been doing, be very creative, allow Caleb Williams to be Caleb Williams. That's just honestly how it works. And that's what Thomas Brown has been utilizing, because at the end of the day, the offense did look pretty solid. It was a lot of fun these last 2 days, because being able to see a comeback come to fruition and going into overtime was pretty fun. And to recover an onside kick too, unbelievable stuff. Caleb Williams has made magic happen, and he was able to get out of the pocket, throw the deep ball. Once his deep ball gets more consistent is when we're going to start seeing him thrive into this, specimen of leading this team to potential Super Bowls down the line, and being like considered an MVP candidate in the near future. But this year is just, a year where he just has to kind of get more comfortable with the line, continue to build his stats and his resume, and just show Chicago that he is the guy for the future. And there's no question about that. There is no question about it, that Caleb Williams is the guy. We found our quarterback. It's a matter of getting him comfortable. And that's what the job Thomas Brown has to do, because Matt Eberflus definitely isn't. There's no way he's not. So, yeah, I just hope that if the Bears do lose this game, I just really hope that Flus gets let go. Like, I just feel like I wish that was the case, but knowing the McCaskies and knowing this ownership group, I don't think that's going to even happen, because it just never does. They're just going to wait for the end of the season to even fire him, wait until January 6th to fire him, when it's just the start of the playoffs. But yeah, the Bears aren't making the playoffs unless we go on an insane run. Even then, there's no way we're winning 6 games in a row. That's just not heard of. But it's going to be tough. I feel like we're going to see a really good game from Caleb. The defense will show up, but since it's at Detroit, I feel like the Lions will get the edge over the Chicago Bears again, and that will be the third division game that the Chicago Bears lose. And listen, you may think Detroit doesn't do well on Thanksgiving. Well, if that's the case, great. I mean, that's probably the reason that they lose. That's the only reason I can see that they lose. That it's just that the Thanksgiving curse. But I feel like they just kind of got over that right now. I don't think that trend will continue, and the Detroit Lions will win this game against the Chicago Bears. Like, I think the score will be pretty close, like, because the division games have been close so far. I think it's going to be, instead of one score, it'll probably be just one score loss for the Chicago Bears. I think it's going to be like 38 to like 28, maybe. Like, maybe a score and a field goal. But let me know down in the comments below what you guys think. Always remember to like and subscribe. It really means a lot to the channel. It really helps me create content like this for you guys. And listen, this season has been very interesting, and just hang in there. Just hope, just at this point, Bears fans, just watch Caleb Williams just for the sake of watching Caleb Williams, because his rookie season is only going to happen one time. And I just enjoy what I have to say. Let's not fight about what we didn't and what we didn't do. At this point, we just have to let it to the ownership group, unfortunately, to make the decision. But hopefully, Flus is gone. Ideally, Flus should be gone after this season, but you know, we'll see. That's about it. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. Like, hit the comment, hit the notification bell. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next.